So at the Tree of Life rejuvenations that are here in Patagonia, Arizona, I get to see a lot of people. And I get to see all the difficulties they come across. The first thing that we have to really understand is that whether it's live food or plant source only cooked or a meat eating diet, they're all, because of the conditions in the world today, because of the weakness in the soil, because of the weakness in the animals, because of the electromagnetic pollution, and on, no diet apparently is sufficient without some level of supplements. The soils are very weak now. So what I find is that people are successful kind of give up the idea of what they think the natural way is and actually move out of their theoretical belief of how it should be and move into really assessing what really does work and what keeps them healthy. As you can say, well, gee, I don't need B12, and you go 30 years, I cite that in my book, Spiritual Nutrition, you go 30 years, and there's a guy at the age of 84, suddenly, in 1 week, became incontinent, couldn't talk, couldn't walk, people couldn't figure out what was going on, and somebody actually tested his B12. It was like, who would think about that? And he had 0 B12. They gave him 1 shot of B12, and everything started to work again. So if you think, oh, I'm fine because I'm 2 years into it, we don't want to be fooling ourselves. Eventually, if you're doing plant source only, you will run out of B12. Now, just to make it clear, there's a study done at Columbia Medical School, where I went to medical school in New York City, and they took people with normal serum B12s and gave them a shot, and 1/3 of them responded dramatically positive. So what we're really looking at is, even if you have a normal B12, it isn't really normal. It's not really the highest level. So B12 is an issue. Omega-3, long-chain omega-3 fatty acids an issue. And again, everybody's diet seems to have this problem. 90% of pregnant women in the United States, a very high percentage in Canada, are low in long-chain omega-3s. And they did a teenage study, I think, in Canada too, and something like 40-50% of the kids were low in omega-3s. So we need to really add that to our diet. Now we can get it. It comes in, there's an herb called purslane, it goes everywhere. It's got both the DHA and EPA long chain. You also get it in E3 Live. Now, I'm not saying the other claim of allergies isn't there, but that's who did the testing, so we know that their quality of what they have. Those are 2 big areas. And then you can also get it in algae extracts. What does that mean? Well, there's a variety of extracts that concentrate the yellow algae, which is where the fish get it. It seems to make a very important difference because those affect your cell membranes, the receptors in all the membranes. They make everything work in the body. That is important. So that's the second thing. Most people, and again, I'm going to say meat eaters, as well as plant source only. I'm going to keep saying that because everybody says, oh, well, it's not plant, it's not meat eaters, it must be us. The general public is very low in vitamin D. Somewhere between 50 and 85% of the adults are low in D, are low in A, same amount, 50 to 85%, and are also low in vitamin K. In 1936, the U.S. Congress said 99% of the U.S. public is low in minerals. It hasn't gotten better. Our soils have only gotten weaker. So what I recommend and what we're doing here at the Tree of Life is we actually have a whole of what we call veganic gardening. And there's reasons for that too, which I'll get to in a moment. And we have extremely high quality food that we're growing that's equivalent to, at least equivalent to, what we call wild crafted foods, which is the best, best food you can get. And what we do is we put a certain mineral mix from the ocean into the soil, and we also use effective microorganisms, which are bring the energy of what they claim in Japan, Kuan Yin, into the soil. So it's like, wow, powerful food. And those kind of things are important. So minerals are a big deal. You want to have as much mineral supplement. And again, one of the great mineral points are really your sea vegetables. They really do a great job of upping your minerals. Of course, everybody's low in C, because again, the fruits don't not have enough C. Everything's so weakened, so we do recommend taking that too. Another supplement that is called carnosine. Carnosine, interesting, because it's concentrated mostly in the brain and the muscle tissues. If you're a really athletic person, you'll tend to actually build more carnosine in your system. Carnosine really significantly alters the aging process. It actually slows, this is fascinating, the unwinding of the telomeres, the shortening of the telomeres. And it protects against what we call glycosylation, which is from high amount of sugar, glucose or fructose. Fructose is about 10 times worse, literally, from combining unnaturally with protein and lipids. So it creates a lot of imbalance in that all our biochemistry, and it significantly accelerates the aging. So I do recommend that. Everybody, I'm going to tell you, meat eaters are too, unless you're eating 3 steaks a day and it's from a wild animal where they build up the carnosine, you're not going to get that much. Okay, so those are things that I think are really important in the big picture. So I'll review it. Your long-chain omega-3s, your minerals, your carnosine, your vitamin C, and your A, D, and K. So everybody has to have that in their diet to make it work.